Hi guys, welcome to Donington. We've got two fantastic new products from Michelin to test today. On the FireBlade, we've got the Power Performance Slick, and on the M1000RR, we've got the Power Performance 24. So I'm going to be testing the tyres on this bike, and I brought Michael Rutter along to test the 24s on the BMW. We're going to go out there, spin some laps, see what they're all about. But before that, here's Tony to tell you a little more about both of them.
Tony John, Technical Manager for Michelin, here today, and we're testing out the Power Performance 24. As the name suggests, an endurance rear tyre. Should be well suited for some good mileage, but still very, very high level of performance. Mixing that with a Power Performance soft front. Grip levels are going to be great today. Real hot day. The tyres do like to run hot, and they are a professional level race tyre. So you do need to be working the tyres, getting the temperature in them, keeping the temperature in them for them to perform at the best. We'll go out, we'll set the tyre pressures. We've got a range of tyre pressures that we work in, and there's no one tyre pressure that's right for any one person. If you're within that range, it's going to be working. Your ideal spot might be towards the higher end or the lower end. Typically colder conditions would be on the higher end. That'll help to generate heat within the tread rubber itself. Once that's working up to temperature, that's when you get grip. Really the key is what the tyre's doing out there. So we'll check the tyre pressures when we're hot on warmers, but really as soon as we get back in from the first fast session, that's when we want to check the tyres and see that they're within the band we want. Most importantly though is the feel, how they're working, how they're riding, how they're behaving for the rider. Yeah, we'll tweak as the day goes on. Kind of going to get warmer and warmer still. Yeah, as the days go on, we may need to bring pressures down. We may find they just work really well. It's always a bit different. Different people, different bikes, different circuits require different settings, and it does take a little bit of work just to get to that optimum setting for them.
So today has been the hottest day ever in the UK, over 40 degrees centigrade. And we've been out here at Donington messing around on bikes, going as fast as we can on some awesome Michelin tyres. I say awesome, there's lots of great tyres out there, but for me, these tyres today, for someone of my capability, like a fast group track day rider, if you want to bracket me as that, I've been overwhelmed by the Power Performance, which I've had on the blade. They've been kind of everything that I would ask, really. Nice and stable, talkative, like you kind of know what's going on. There are a lot of other tyres out there that talk a bit more, and they also lose grip a bit sooner. But these, in my opinion anyway, have been good for grip, good for communication, and the best thing has been that as hot as it's been, like I say, it's ludicrous how hot it's been today, is they've just been consistent, and I think that's really important to me. To kind of put a bit of a more professional spin on things, we brought Michael into the equation. These bikes have got the same two front tyres on them, so they've both got the Power Performance fronts in soft. The difference being, I've got the Power Performance soft on the rear of the blade, but on the BMW, Michael's had the Power Performance 24, which is more of a fast endurance spec tyre. So Michael, I'm jabbering away. I want to talk to you. You're the pro here. First and foremost, let's get your take on, well, let's start with the blade. So on the kind of like the initial product you would go for if you want to do kind of racing or something like that, this is what Michelin is pitching the Power Performance as. How did you rate these?
Exactly. You've said everything. I'm lucky enough to be sponsored by Dunlop, Pirelli, Metzler this year, and I've been on lots of different things, and everyone's a bit of a feel different, but overall fantastic. Tyres today, like I say, in these conditions, they work fantastic, and the grip in them, you couldn't fault it. And jumping off each bike, the Honda and going onto the BMW was, I couldn't tell the difference anyway. So.
Could you not?
No.
So again, I guess that's a great thing. I mean, Michelin, as we said, they're pitching the endurance tyre as a tyre that's going to go the distance. I should say that we were doing full 20-minute sessions on these bikes anyway, and the consistency was there throughout. Like, it's not as if I felt a tyre dropping off. So it blows my mind, especially judging how well these tyres have worn. And we're not making it up. You can have a look at how well they have worn. They've gone the distance anyway. So that 24, that's like a Duracell battery that looks like it's just going to keep on going forever and ever. So maybe we should have made this a 3-day test or something like that to try and wear it out, because it looks mint. And
well, like you say, it's extremely hot, and everything worked perfectly, so I'm well happy with it.
So what I would be keen to know is, to ask someone like you, Michael, what it is that you actually look for in a race tyre, in a slick like this. What is it that you are actually hoping to have?
Well, it's obviously as more grip as possible, and but it's feeling. It's when you go into a corner, you can brake, and the harder you go into the corner, the more of a contact patch you want. So you want to brake harder and harder. So I've struggled over the years, and have to do different tyre pressures to get more of a feeling, to make the sidewall stiffer on tyres, and to brake harder and harder, so I'll get that contact patch to push the front in, but not have it too soft so it folds on the way in. But yeah, today they've felt great, so everything, we're on a track day, and obviously it's we're not racing them, but what we've done today was fine.
I tell you what I find interesting. So actually, at one point in time, Michael slowed down enough for me to keep somewhere near him for 3 or 4 laps, and it was kind of at that point in time that I guess I got all excited and I was pushing harder, and I actually found that these tyres respond better when you're working them harder than when you're going slower. And I don't know whether that's just a typical track, like a slick attribute, that actually you've got to load them, you've got to push them to get the best out of them. But that was definitely my interpretation of these. They seem to come to life.
Yeah, that in these conditions, that's where you need to be, and you get that feedback from the tyre. So it's good you got that, because that was hot out there, as you can see.
So you were on the FireBlade back in 2004. So we are talking about 18 years ago. So you're on the
2003, 2004,
2003, 2004. So 18, 19 years ago, Michael was on that beautiful HM Plan FireBlade in BSB, doing amazing things on it. And you were obviously a Michelin rider way back then. Yeah. So what's the difference between what you can buy over the shelf now versus the special, the decent, really, really top shelf Michelins you were getting back in the day? I've always tried to be honest through my career and say what I thought. When I was obviously with HM Plant with Keo and all the, with that Honda backing, we had a full backing from Michelin, and when they worked, they were absolutely awesome. It was just unbelievable. But we did have problems, in cooler temperatures. Just because of the background, they hadn't been really done much British Championship racing, and it can be like today, like 30, 32, 33 degrees, normal race weekend, and then we would go to somewhere and it'd be like -3, It was difficult for them, but overall they were a brilliant tyre, I guess just on that note again, while we're asking these questions, in terms of durability, so as I said, these tyres still do look really good. They look really, really good. We've done a solid 4 sessions each on these bikes, 20 minutes, 40-degree ambient temperature. It's been hard work for them, but they still look good. Back in the day, with that kind of distance,
back in the day, oh definitely. Our tyres have come on so much. They're fantastic now compared to what they used to. You have some big crashes you could have, but even going out with cold tyres, I've been out today just from cold, and straight out, within half a lap, you could feel the grip was there. So obviously I know in a hot temperature, it wouldn't be like that on a freezing cold day with a bit of drizzle around, but on today's performance, they weren't warmed up very, very quickly.
Yeah. Well, look, it's been a cracking day. We're in one piece. The bikes are in one piece. Big thanks to Michelin and to No Limits for having us here. If you want to find out any more information, head to www.michelin.co.uk and have a look at these products, or speak to your nearest Michelin stockist. They'll fill you in with all the prices and specs and sizes and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I would say, if you're that kind of guy that just wants to do lots of laps on track, be it club racing or track day riding, these tyres are great. And from Michael, I think you're getting the impression that these are a decent track spec slick, and if they're good enough for you, then they're pretty damn decent.